Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Nerd Herd Comic Book Club. My name is Scott. Up here, I've got
Shane from Dawn
Shane, there he
Comics.
is,
Ahoy,
yeah.
boy.
And up here, I've got
Philip. Hiya.
There we go. There we go. Welcome to the Nerd Herd. We today are reading The Kill Lock. This is no, wait there. There we go. We're reading The Kill Lock. This is a book written, drawn, and coloured by Livio Ramondelli, and lettered by Tom Long. So that's what we're looking at today. This is my pick, and this story essentially is about 4 robots that are kind of sentenced to death in a way by the means of this programming called a kill lock. 4 robots are locked together by some programming, and if one of them dies, they all die. So it's about their kind of adventure, how they stick together, work together through all these threats and scenarios that they're in, and eventually they find a way to get around it. And it was quite clever, in my opinion. But let's just say hi to everyone that's here. We have Liam, Heidi Ho. Thank you for joining. We've got Blue Sonic. He's here. Evening all. We've got Connie. Ahoy! Or was it Ayo? Ayo! Ayo! Hey, hey! Livio Ramondelli's in the chat. Hello, hello. Thanks so much for covering the kill lock. Thank you very much for joining.
Thanks for writing the kill lock.
Say it again.
Thanks for writing the kill lock.
Yes,
Thanks thanking us for covering it. Thanks for writing
it. Yeah, and that's all we've got in the chat so far. But yes, if you haven't read this book and you like the way we're talking about it, then don't forget there is an Amazon link in our description that you can click on and buy. And some of the money will go to us, and we'll put it all back towards you when we get a chunk of it. But yes, so that's it so far. So let's pick on Phil. Do you want to start us off? What did you think of the kill lock as a gist?
I mean, yeah, listen, I like the story. There's no question. Like, it was a fun read, from start to finish, and I really liked the kind of bond, I suppose, that they all had, and the twist at the end and stuff like this here. But we always usually kind of start with the art, and the art, for example, like it was too good for a comic book. I think, like, it's almost like wasted on a comic book. It needs to be in a better place than a comic book or something, don't you think?
What better place is there than a comic book for art?
I don't know, on a wall in a French museum somewhere.
So, like, I remember, so when I started to look at this last week, I looked at the first page, and it's a really simple page. It's just quite snowy, and there's not a lot of landscape there. But then you get a really close up of the artisan character on the bottom panel, and it just looked so like really close to like borderline photorealism for me. I think it was so like photographic, and it looked, if you close up, you can tell it's a drawing, but if you looked at it from about here, you'd be like, oh my god, like is that the drawing? You know what I mean? And that was something that really enticed me into wanting to just get into the book as quick as I could. I'm a sucker for art, and this did drag me in.
Absolutely, yeah, the art is stunning. The only downside I have to the art personally, I thought the colors were just a little bit dark throughout the entire book. They were very monotoned, but the art itself, my first note was stunning art.
Yeah, 100%. I'm thinking, so I was trying to see if I could compare this to something, and there were two kind of stories that I've read that I can compare this to. So the first one was Origins, a book from Boom Studios. Now, I know Livio's here. I don't want to take this the wrong way. I didn't like the art in Origins, but the way Livio has done it is just better. And that's something that really appealed to me. I was just like, this reminds me of Origins, but it's just way better. And then you have the blurs then in the fight scenes or of anything, when they were getting sent off from the shuttle when they had the kill lock, at the start and that kind of thing. And then that reminded me of We Only Find Them When They're Dead, the kind of blur they have in the issues there. And so those, those are both stories that I enjoy. I wasn't too fussed on the art in Origins, but then yeah, the way that Livio's done it, really enjoyed it. And his character designs, I think they're great.
One thing I really appreciate with the art is the fact that obviously they are robots, but the fact that by looking at particularly the artisan class, you can really see like the texture of the metal.
Yeah,
If you want like kind of, I don't know what you would how you describe it, but if you like a sheet of plain metal and you see the kind of like distinction between like whatever, like you see that on his on
I mean,
on
like
the
kind of like brush lines you get on some
like that,
brushed metal, or
like it's not clean or plain or shiny. It's just like you're seeing a kind of even if you like a kitchen top that's like and you score it with a scrubbing pad, you can see the kind of like the scores in it. That's what it's like. You see the kind of like the embellishments, is that the right word? Like all the kind of
it's been through some stuff. It's been a bit weathered, a bit used. Let's just say hi to Pete Allreet. Thank you for joining. Rich from Comics versus the World is here. Says, even all, I did actually read the first issue of this but I didn't feel like I needed to read more. I'll catch up with the chat tomorrow anyway to see what you guys think. Thank you very much. Connie says, I literally finished it about 5 minutes ago. Speed reading to get it read on time. So enjoyable. That's really good. Bearded Comic Bro, thank you for joining. He says, Kill Lock was one of his favorite books of 2020. Such an underrated book. We'll let you know what we think. TB Collects, what's up, nerd? Thank you for joining. And let's see. Here we go. Connie, she says, I'm a sucker for a spacey constellation background. And this book had so many scenes. She just wanted to get prints off, especially the very last page, which was also her favorite page jumping ahead. Yeah, and then we'll... and then Liam says, the art was absolutely stunning. Dominic was nearly on time. You're getting closer, mate. Well done. Well done. And just saying hi to Andy as well. Livio was in the chat as well. So I did mention it to him on Instagram that people are free to ask him some questions, and I'm sure he'll be happy to answer them in the chat. So crack on.
There were a few issues I did have with the art, and I feel like Bagley's he's in the chat. I don't want to like say anything negative, but it's just something for myself. A lot of the panels I thought were quite squashed to the point where I didn't really know what I was meant to look at in terms of like, so also like Wraith, for example, he's a big guy, so whenever you only see so much of him on a small panel, I just didn't know what part of him I was looking at. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I know what you mean. So it was like a small panel, but it was quite close up.
Yeah.
You're like, what part is that? Yeah, and I think that kind of goes in conjunction with what Shane said, was some of it looked a bit dark in some areas, and I think that kind of made it a bit more difficult to see things. I think I didn't quite understand the paneling in some bits. Like there was a lot of black space, and I'm wondering if that's just me being naive and I just don't know the reasoning why behind that. I'm not an artist. I don't order stuff in for paneling. But
see, I had written that down in my notes as well about the panel layout, and there are some pages where there are big chunks of black. Like in a normal comic book, say like a Spider-Man book, for example, they're going to fill every part of that page,
every little centimeter.
But they'll also have things on top of each other. But this book, because the art was that good, like I don't think you could put too much on top of each other because you're taking away from some stuff. So that's the only thing I could think of as the reason why the panel layout was how it was, with some kind of black chunks. But again, I'm not an educated person to know if that's the reason. That's just what I was thinking.
Yeah. Well, it's good that wasn't just me that picked it up as well. What about you, Shane?
I didn't actually notice. I was probably too hypnotized by the gorgeous panels. I didn't notice any black paneling adjustments on the page. What I did notice, though, unfortunately, which it's hard to do when you're doing robots, is the emotion that the robot is showing. Like you can't, they didn't have any facial features to speak of. But I do think Dave did a good job with body language and showing you what the robots were feeling. Whereas in this, unless they were telling you what they were feeling, you didn't. Well, you couldn't tell just from looking.
I think the laborer, the labor class and the young one, I think they were the most like visually emotive because the laborer, he kind of had eyebrows, and sometimes you saw him do like a cheeky like half grin kind of thing. But yeah, the artisan and the wraith just needed to be purely verbal and body language. And I think with Dave, you know, the body language there, they were kind of forced into that because Dave, his face is just an eye. You know, it's just one big eyeball, isn't it? So the only way they could have him sort of show emotion was with his body language.
Yeah, I have written down a comparison with Dave as well. Because obviously we've all read Dave on the show, so and it is a robot, so we're going to compare naturally, I suppose.
Yeah.
And I suppose in a way, this book and Dave is a very different aesthetic. You know, there's no one in this book doing things to themselves, like in Dave, for example. You know,
Like Scotty.
Like Scotty from yeah. So
yeah.
Although the artisan is just as big a dick as Dave, it was.
I am confused why the artisan had a mouth and sharp teeth.
So he could speak?
But everyone else could speak.
Yeah, so you're wondering about the sharp teeth, not the mouth.
Yeah, well, suppose not so much the mouth. I understand, but obviously the mouth serves no purpose. I don't think he eats or puts data into his mouth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just like, but obviously he has the sharp teeth. I'm assuming because kind of he is the more sinister of the four in terms of.
Yeah.
It was so there was no doubt whatsoever that he was going to betray the team at some point and be the bad guy of the book, as if you didn't get that from the second page. But just in case you didn't,
you're right.
Yeah, light fell. It's fine.
Yeah, but like the whole, you know, because you see the other artisan later on in the book, which was a very cool twist for me, by the way, and he looked exactly the same. He was a bit different color, but he had sharp teeth and sharp claws. And like, why were they made that way? You know, if the whole race is like this, and this race is just to engineer other robots, then why did they make them so like evil looking? You know,
well, I suppose they need the fingers to kind of, because they are more hands on to make the robots. Maybe that's why they have those kind of opposing thumbs, for example. But I suppose like that was the big part of the story, that they had the brain, but they didn't have like the brawn type of thing, you know, to kind of be this complete. You know, that's why he wanted the race body, essentially, wasn't it? Because he wanted to be a complete badass.
Yeah.
That for me, I have to say, was a bit disappointing. The ending. If you wanted to do something like that, like have one of them have orchestrated the whole thing, don't make it the obvious one. You know, the one who's clearly the bad guy from the start. It should have been the child.
No, but
the unfinished.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
But my thing about it is too, it was obvious to the point where I was then thinking, I can't be him, because it is obvious.
Yeah.
But then whenever it happens, it's like it all clicks into place, and it was still a really grand scheme if you really think about it. Like he had to, like, you know, force this what do you call it, like the sentencing from the other three robots, and obviously his own. So and the hope that he would get placed with the Wraith and do he needed to do. But it is obvious. But if it was anyone different, it wouldn't have worked.
Yeah, I think with Phil, I know, Shane, you've read a lot of stuff, and I know it's a lot of storylines are going to be predictable, but I feel like if we didn't have the predictable thing, then some people may be disappointed, because some people like to have that kind of win, like, yes, I knew it was him all along, but then some other people, like maybe yourself, are like,
there wasn't any doubt that it was going to be him. There was nothing along the way. Like, he didn't show any kind of compassion towards anyone. Or
I thought he did to the youngster or to the unfinished. There were some scenes where I know he called him little shit and things like that, but there were some scenes like he just knew he was doing the right thing by him. You know, the whole whenever like they took his arm away, which is really sad, by the way. Like, you know, this little unfinished robot who goes into like some weird city and gets taken advantage of, and they take his arm. It's just
like, I took my arm, by the way. Yeah.
So he said he'd bring it back.
So Livio's commented saying, regarding the artisan design, he meant for their class to feel kind of surgical, so sharp teeth, sharp fingers, the feeling of needles, etc. There we go. Thank you for clearing that up. That's awesome. Yeah, I think my favorite character design of the four was the Wraith. I thought he was awesome, like this big, bulky, kind of almost like religion looking. Like, he looked as if he had a hooded. I know he was wearing a hooded thing, but when he wasn't wearing his, cape or not cape, you know what I'm trying to say, wasn't wearing his disguise, his cloak. Yeah, he still looked like he was wearing a hooded thing, and that kind of I really like that, and the kind of the crosses on his face was very cool. It just reminded me of like some sort of Templar, this like religious, big bulky religious knight,
The same thing
Yeah.
with the speech bubble, the text for the speech bubbles were all kind of Templar, kind of like knight and
Yeah.
whatever. It was
I
quite
found
cool.
that hard to read at times. It was
There was a
bit
few
too-
words I struggled with. Yeah. Think about the art as well. So literally you mentioned, Scott, the very first page of this was him walking through like the blizzard or through the snow into like some sort of like far little town. But there's a lot in the world, I suppose, that wasn't really explained. Maybe that needed to be explained. But for that scene, for example, there was clearly some sort of big animal that had been there, and you can see the rib cage. Am I thinking that right?
Yeah, no, they did bring that up later on. They said that they had made a village inside the remains of whatever this creature was. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they did bring
This
that
story could actually be a continuation of Dave. It could be the aliens that went out and killed other planets, couldn't it? Because they
Just
did
a
say
serious
they
spin-off
went-
of Dave.
Yeah, they did say in Dave that they went out and killed every living thing in the universe. So this could just be what happened to the ones that didn't get back to Earth.
Yeah. Dominic's here. He's saying he's never heard of this title or creative team. Excited to learn about more. Dominic, the creative team is literally Livio Ramondelli and Tom Long. That's it. And they've done very well. Tyler is saying, I agree that he was the obvious villain, but he thinks I think the why and how I liked. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, the
agreed.
reason and how you done it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. As obvious as it was still a decent explanation for it. I do just wish it wasn't so obvious.
Yeah. Do you want to look at some pages?
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah. For anyone in the chat who's read the book, do let us know what your favorite page was as well. Philip, we'll go for you first.
Cool. Yeah, so this, I mean, again, you can see the kind of texture on like the robots, on the metal of the robots for one. This is issue one where what do you call that big grip? What would you call them? Salvage?
Oh, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Scavengers.
That's the one, scavengers. Yeah. So they obviously wanted to take the kid and they wanted parts of him because, they could sell it or whatever. So obviously the Wraith, who shows the idea that he's not just doing this for himself because he knows if the kid dies that he'll die. It's just more than nobility because the youngster doesn't deserve this, so he'll go through it, whatever else. So they're obviously protecting him. But just like actually going through the first one and all the bits flying everywhere. All the, like, you got the arm and whatever else, and you just imagine some sort of chips and transistors and whatever. I'm trying to think of electrical speak here, just whatever's like in there, and
cogs and wires.
Yeah, just all that stuff is quite cool and stuff. And
Cogs.
Yeah, but it's just the textures, and you mentioned before as well, Scott, with the kind of blurriness of like the light. So if you look around, obviously the Wraith's face, and then like the gun,
it's got that glow, isn't it?
Yeah,
around his face.
And it does remind me of that kind of we only find them when they're dead.
Yeah.
That kind of like it's really highlighting the heat or something of those kind of of those images. But the other thing too about the art is because it's so artistic. Like you've got the snowy mountains in the background, the snow and the clouds. Like it just portrays this real kind of fast land behind them as well. It's not just what you see in the foreground; it's the background as well.
What I was most impressed with this page, because I was going to pick this as well, but you got it before me, unfortunately. And I think one thing that really stood out for me, is the fact that Livio has spent so much time on the background. The kind of snowy cave, the mountain at the top, and the clouds. The clouds look real. They look so spot on, and it's awesome. And it's that kind of detail that I feel like I don't see much in DC and Marvel books, really. So it was just really refreshing just to see that.
On the other side of the coin, and again, not to be too negative, but the thing I find with the kind of fight scenes in particular, there's not a lot of movement. If you know, like in normal comic books, you'll see like a swirl of a fist or something like this. But if you look at the three panels here, he's jumping from one bad guy to the next. So like there's not a lot of kind of movement involved in between, if you know what I'm trying to say. So it kind
Yeah.
of jumps a wee bit. But I think that's because of the art style, because it is so good. You can't really you can't draw too much of different movement because it's going to be too much work to do. So you have to kind of
Yeah.
pick what you want to get it to get to
Yeah.
those parts.
This,
That's
I think, I read the forward, no, the afterword. Is that what you call it? After the
back
book.
back matter, as I call it.
Yeah. That the Livio had written. And this was just like his project that he did between his main jobs. Like he's mostly worked for Transformers for IDW, which you can clearly see, his inspirations for these characters and stuff. So yeah, maybe that kind of explains the, maybe not putting too much movement in here and there. Shane, let's go into yours. Oh,
no.
man. You had
Well,
to
he was
do
the
it.
only character in the entire book that I actually cared about. So when that
Okay.
happened, I was gutted.
Yeah.
He'd
So
done
what is this
nothing
for the
wrong.
podcast listeners?
This is the part where the unfinished or the child has been impaled on a bunch of spiky bits of. I'm not sure if that's rock or metal. I know it's happened
Probably.
after the fight. It's probably
Yeah.
a mixture of both. But he was trying to save the artisan from the black artisan, and he kicked him away, and he got impaled, and he's dying, and it's so sad.
Yeah. This was a close one for me picking it as well, and it was definitely the most emotional page of the whole story.
Yeah.
Just seeing this child kind of, not have a real reason to be in this kill lock, and he's just lumped with these other three proper criminals, and
Yeah.
he's just trying to do his best to get around, and then he's the first one to die.
This is when I realized we weren't going to get some big reveal that he actually did deserve to be on the kill lock because he was an evil little shit. But it's just you don't expect it from robots to get emotionally attached to them. So
No.
when this happens, you're just like, oh, right in the feels.
I know. Yeah. Phil, do you want to say anything about this one?
Yeah, I mean, it was one of those. You don't expect him to meet his end. Obviously, he doesn't really, suppose, in the end, but you kind of think he's going to meet his end. And, even if they did save his processor chip, like, this is still a sad sight to see,
Yeah.
Because that's the one they try to protect the whole time up to that.
Yeah. And that was the whole motivation for them trying to find the cure as well, because he didn't deserve to have the kill lock. And then all that happens to him. And then my page. Okay.
I was going to say the other thing too. I don't know why it strikes me, but obviously the robots don't have blood, right? But I really like the use of the fact that whenever a robot does die or get impaled, that they use oil.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how obviously the robots don't have oil, suppose, to make sure they move about smoothly. But I just love the fact that they do it. Like, they don't have to really put the oil in there, but they had oil to show like blood. That's quite
but
cool.
they did refer to it as blood. The artisan did say, "Oh, look, you're bleeding out, and you're dying," and so they did use human terms for it. I don't think they referred to it as oil.
No.
Yeah, that's true.
Going back to what we said earlier, Livio said, "I've heard several people mention that they suspected the kid might actually have done something evil that would get revealed, and that honestly never occurred to him to do that."
Too much of a good person to make a child a murderer or an evil person.
I think that's good of Livio to not do that.
He didn't really have a backstory. He just had 3 memories, wasn't it?
Yeah, he was just created, and they didn't finish creating him, so they threw him on the scrap heap pretty much.
Yeah.
Like, they made the mistake, and they were like, "Oh, we'll just cover it up and send him to the kill lock." Like, poor little sod.
I know. And then this is my page. Then this was at the end of issue 4, where the artisan sees another one of his kind. And what does he say there? What did he say?
Paint me like one of your French girls, Jack.
It was just such a cool scene. It's all red, and he's just like, and he has his shisha pipe. I was just like,
how is he inhaling it? He has no lungs.
Like, it's quite cool. But it was just a quirky little addition to that as well. And then I think, isn't the light above him? Isn't it made up of the fourth one? The mediator. I was, so you don't know that when you see this picture, but then when you read on and then you look back at this, you see how creepy that is. that he's made a light for him and his shisha pipe at the end. But it's such a moody picture, and it's such a cool one to end an issue on as well. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, like the light or the chandelier, if you want to call it that, like the fact that it still has the mark, like the kill lock mark on him.
Yeah, you can see it in the top
I
corner.
thought it was quite cool.
Yeah. TB is with me here. He says he loved this page. He looks so badass and like a proper villain. Yeah, it is very villainesque.
Is it just me, or is it a tad sexual? His pose.
Hello.
Like Shane says, paint me like one of your French girls. Like it kind of has that kind of like
with his elbow up like this.
Yeah, it's
I've been expecting you.
Yeah. There's no robot cat on his lap. So that is our pages for now. Connie as well, she did say that her favorite page was the last one, where you know
that was really good.
Yeah, it was
where,
awesome.
That's right. It's the Wraith standing there, but it's the artisan's face in the stars.
Yeah,
and they're all like spiritual. It's like Skywalker. They're like the dead Jedi standing there, like the Force ghosts.
Yeah.
So that's what's cool about the book too. Like we mentioned the background, like in those scenes, like you see the real kind of cosmic, you know, like the space background. It's all like funny colors, as you would expect. I've never been to space, but as you would imagine from space, watching other space movies and stuff, like that really cosmic kind of look. I thought it was really cool.
Yeah, it was. Should we move on to the story? Shane, do you want to tell us your thoughts on what you thought of the story and the writing?
I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the story. I enjoyed the idea of the story as well. Just, you know, connecting four beings together, and if one of them dies, they all die. I didn't really like all the characters. I'm not going to lie. I didn't really care for the Wraith. He didn't grab me in any way. Neither did the Labourer. Like,
all right.
They weren't my cup of tea. I cared about the kid because, you know, cute little robot with half a face, like he hasn't even got an entire skull, and the artisan who was a massive dick straight off when he pulls up in the bar next to the panda guy, and he's like, "I don't like your face."
Oh my god, who made that face? Yeah,
it reminded me of is it Luke Skywalker, and he's like, "My friend doesn't like your face." And it was just like, "I don't like your face." So he just like takes his eyes, and then he takes his voice, and I'm like, "This is a evil son of a gun." And I don't like him, and I really want him to die, but obviously I don't want the rest to die, so something's going to have to happen here along the way. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed that they didn't stay in one place. I enjoyed that they got to where they were going quickly. They didn't stay anywhere too long. Nothing got boring. You know, they met characters they needed to meet. There were funny moments, sad moments when the kid gets impaled. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
It's a good all-rounder.
Yeah.
I thought, like, you know, the thing that drew me to this obviously was the concept of the kill lock. That was why I wanted to pick this book. So I read the synopsis and went, that sounds pretty cool. I wonder how they'll go through this. And yeah, like I said earlier, I just loved the variety of the characters. Like, you know, they could have done all of the same race of robots. You know, they could have done that. But it was really... I'm really glad that Livio did decide to do robots from different areas or classes, you know, just to kind of give it that variety instead of just having, you know, the same species but different color and different personalities, that kind of thing. So I'm very happy that there was this kind of variety.
Yeah.
I think I did like all their kind of backstories and their kind of reasons for it. Like the labor class, like I felt really bad for
that
him.
One made me laugh.
Because he left the door closed, didn't he?
He just shut a door
too early.
Yeah. And he then sentenced to death essentially just because, I mean, I'm not okay. It's an honest mistake, but obviously people or robots did die through his mistake. Through his negligence.
Yeah, but resources were lost. They didn't say lives.
Yeah,
that's
right. It was resources. That's right. But then Wraith, like he had a really kind of strange backstory in that he just all of a sudden developed this sense of nobility where he didn't want to kill. There were two youngsters, wasn't he? He didn't want to kill the youngsters, but I feel like Wraith shouldn't have feelings because he is just like like the warrior type thing. You know, he shouldn't have that or something. He obviously does, which is great. But I mean, like, I found like, why would you not want to kill those two young robots if you
Yeah.
had to? If you're like programmed to do it, you know?
Yeah, I
Well,
was
but he was
thinking like
also
why.
programmed with nobility, wasn't he? So he kind of knows right from wrong. And like he
Mm.
said, the unfinished hadn't done anything. You can't punish them for something they might do.
Yeah, yeah. I was thinking why. Like, was this the first time he ever encountered kids, or had he just destroyed places with kids in it, but didn't know there were kids in it? Like, I'm assuming he had
That's
killed
it.
and pillaged places before this area. So why was it now that seeing these kids stopped him from wanting to destroy it and decide to kill one of his own? Yeah, but it was, I think, out of all of the backstories in terms of why they got the kill lock, the Wraith was definitely my favorite. I think we've established that he was my favorite of the four now. Yeah, really, really enjoyed it. It was really dark, but you could understand. I mean, you don't want to kill, young children for no reason, like they haven't done anything. And then, he was kind of standing up for that.
So I'm sitting here thinking, obviously I just read the book a couple of days ago, but I'm thinking, did they have names? Or was it just
No.
artisan class, labor
Yeah.
class? So there's no names?
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
That's one of my negatives on my list. I'm like, you can't have all these robots and have no names.
Or even
No
like a
way to
unique number,
identify.
like IG88 or something,
Exactly. Artisan 472 and
Yeah.
Labourer 854. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah, because
going back to the Wraith's backstory, can I just say one thing? Because he
Yeah.
saved those two kids, he didn't let them die, and wouldn't it have been a decent twist if the child on the kill lock was one of those?
yeah, I thought it was
To give him an
originally.
extra reason. Yeah,
Yeah,
that would have
I
been
thought,
a decent explanation for why he tried so hard to protect them. He's there because of him, so he's going to protect him even harder.
Yeah, I thought they were all going to link in some way, and I thought that was going to be one of the links. The bearded comic bro says the concept of the kill lock was really great, which it is. Tyler saying he enjoyed the story. It was pretty fast paced. I honestly just wanted more world building, and I want to know more about everything in this world.
Yeah, like Axial, for example. I feel like I wanted more of her character.
Yeah,
I'm assuming it's a her character. Obviously, I'm assuming
she
it was
looked
a female, but yeah, but I kind of want more of that character. Because she played a pretty big part in, I suppose, like sending them to this other planet where she knows they'll get slaughtered, and then she also has a feelings for the unfinished as well, where I can't have them, getting slaughtered. So I need to stop it somehow. And even the idea where she was able to like telepathically or whatever was like connect to the labor class, like I kind of feel like I want all these things explained. When you could maybe do that by having more volume or something, kind of just beef that world more.
So, Livio, as we're here, we're going to take the advantage now and just tell you we want more.
Yeah.
Just do some more, please. That'll be fantastic.
4 one-shots about each of the characters.
That'd be great, isn't it? That'd be really cool.
I also liked how labor class was like an alcoholic as well. That was a good little touch.
How are you an alcoholic? You're
but
what
was it? It wasn't alcohol though, was it? Like what was it?
They said what it. I can't remember what it was. They did say what it was, but that's the reason why he didn't bleed out when he was broken in half, because he was so thick.
Corroded all his insides and made his blood acid. So when he spits at the guy, he melts his face.
That's right.
But I liked it. It was so acidic that it managed to catch one of the robots on fire later on, which was that's really intense. But yeah, going back to the kind of world building, we do see a few different planets and areas, and the variety
the
on them.
sextillion or whatever they call it.
But yeah, I thought all of it was you could clearly tell they were all completely different places, but like the Wraith had visited all of them or something. He knew something about all of them, and like I found it quite funny when they were like, "So you destroyed all of this?" And he goes, "No, just that half. Just that bit over there. That was me. That wasn't me. Like how messy is that?" But yeah, it was the world building and the kind of the galaxy building, the solar system building of this was cool, and it was good. Even though it was in 6 issues, we saw like 3 or 4 different planets. And it was it was great. Nothing felt rushed or out of place.
I really like the party planet because I love the interactions. Not only when the kid got his arm taken and then they went after the guy and took his arm and he went to kid, what do you want me to do with it? And he's like, throw it up there.
Throw it up there.
That was fun. But also when they meet the
thing,
drunk guys.
Yeah.
And he's like, that's a wraith. I'm telling you, that's a wraith. And he's like, kill him both now. He's like, you just punched through another guy. You won't say just kill them. And he's like, they haven't done anything wrong. So he just has a conversation with them and they just go on their merry way. I thought that was like a really good interaction with these drunk louts.
Yeah. Blue Sonic, he's saying he personally enjoyed all of the characters and their backstories, but the artisan stole the show for him. He's a very good character. Connie, but she's saying she liked Wraith. She thinks they were her favorite character. Livio was saying he didn't know how people would react to the super dark sense of humor. I enjoyed it for the artisan's humor. I thought it was good.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's my sense of humor.
Ooh. Livio, not to say much, but he will say an announcement on the future of the series will be coming soon. That is great. Thank you very much.
Not to tease too much. That's a big tease.
Basically saying, there's one coming. Stay tuned.
Let us know, and hopefully we'll look at it for you.
But this is one of my kind of not negatives, but like because it ended with like obviously them all joined in the Wraith's body and controlled by the artisan. Like I feel like you can't just leave us with that. You need to tell us what happens. Like because now the artisan's this all powerful kind of robot. There's got to be some level of like, is he going to like try and overtake a planet or something and become sort of king or like what?
Yeah.
You know what?
I think he's going to try and get them out of. He's not going to want them rambling on in his brain all day long because he can hear their voices. So I think he's going to get them new bodies,
but
they can find the cure and then get them out of him. And then
from Wraith. But I thought there was
he'll keep Wraith's body. He will keep.
He'll just put Wraith in a different body.
Yeah,
and also unfinished. Yeah. That'd be quite cool. We're giving Livio some ideas here. So just
get right. Yeah, this is exactly what we want to see. I think having them all in the same body, and especially with completely different personalities and maturity levels as well, that must be extremely conflicting. For the artisan to deal with. But originally. Before it was like 100% revealed that it was the artisan in control, I thought it was the Wraith that had taken over control. But then his face turned purple, didn't it? And I was like, oh, okay, it's the artisan. But the way, the speech and stuff. And I was like, oh, cool. Imagine if, I was like, imagine if the Wraith, took over. But
the speech should have changed. That should not have stayed the Wraith speech. That definitely should have gone back to the artisan speech bubbles. I think that was a bit of a
but if you think about it, like voice boxes kind of thing.
But he was still speaking in the same manner as the Wraith. It wasn't just the speech.
Is he speaking out loud? Because there's nobody there. That's all in his head. He just speak to them from within. Don't
know. It was really the whole concept of being able to save them through taking out the processes. That was quite clever. Like things were unraveled quite well paced in this story. I think in terms of the artisan's grand plan and how the black artisan, how he figured it all out. Taking the processor, taking the processor chip from the mediator. I keep wanting to say meditator. The mediator. I thought all of that, all of the revealing of everything that was, critical to the story was paced very well.
Yeah, it didn't feel exposition-y, did it? It wasn't like exposition dump. It was just that he was having a conversation with who he thought was his equal.
Yeah. Oh, that's he thinking.
That part I was quite confused. Again, maybe I read it wrong, but so the artisan had this big plan to do this, but he didn't know to that point about the processor chip, and he could remove. He needed to willingly remove it. He didn't know that, so that was like the missing piece of the puzzle.
Yeah,
but like it seems a pretty grand plan to start put in place, where you could
Well, he
effectively
knew it
could
could-
die.
But I think he knew that this other artisan had done this. He knew it could be done. He just didn't know exactly how he did it. So he had to get there, and he didn't know where he was. So he had to do this entire plan to get there.
Yeah.
But yeah, he even says it was really dangerous and risky.
Yeah.
But it was worth it.
He's because you can protect yourself as much as you want, but I suppose like the other three, who one's a drunk, one you can't hide him in a dark corner, and the other one's a kid. Like,
well, he did plan on someone else. The kid weren't meant to be there. That was a last minute replacement. Yeah.
He was like, I hadn't finished his. He was like, mother. I really like that. But essentially, this story was the artisan's story, wasn't it? Like, it starts with him and it finishes with him. And it's just all about his grand plan throughout the whole story. And the other three are just his kind of pawns, in this game that he just moves around to where he needs them to be.
That's the kind of villain we all like, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
We like somebody like that.
Don't you think the plan's a little bit elaborate for someone that designs other robots? Could he not have just designed a new body for himself and just cut all this danger and risk out?
There's bound to be something. There's bound to be something above him. That's another thing about in terms of
forges.
Like building this world. Like you want to see what more. Like what prevents him, from living above a station type thing. There's obviously something higher class than him or whatever.
Yeah.
Who's in control of this whole production line of robots that he produces.
He's going after them now in the Wraith's body, isn't he?
That's kind of what I'm thinking might happen. So yeah,
that would be great. That would be really good. Tyler's saying the humor in this book kind of took him by surprise. There were lots of funny moments throughout. Yeah, this was a kind of thing that you didn't expect there to be any humor in this. But it was, and it was quite welcomed, to be honest. I liked it.
Well, it happened straight away, though, so you weren't like thrown off guard, because like the second page when he tells the panda robot that he doesn't like his face.
Yeah.
I'm
you glad you thought it was a panda as well.
Oh, was it not a panda? What was it?
Well, I don't know what it was, but
I thought it resembled a panda.
Yeah. He was there like, oh, this is just my face. What are you talking about? He's like,
he's like, I designed you, not that face. I didn't do the face.
Yeah. TB and Blue Sonic have a question. They're like, when are we going to get a beautiful oversized hardcover for Volume 1? That'd be nice. You know what? So I bought the physical copy of this, and I bought it from Forbidden Planet. It was on sale. It looked brand new, and I still, I'm sure that it was brand new. But once I'm going through the book, the first 3 issues of the trade fell out. They weren't glued on properly. The issues 4, 5, and 6 are in fine, but the first 3 issues just fell out of my book.
Get the Pritt stick out.
I was like, oh man, it's a really cool book, but now I've got a damaged version of it, so I'm gonna have to go and pick up a new one.
I would imagine, Livio, that you need to do another 2 volumes and then release a beautiful oversized hardcover. Just like a good 18 issue kind of book.
15 to 18 issues, that'd be awesome, wouldn't it? Yeah, I'd love that.
Yeah. That's your task. That's your quest now.
Just stop Transformers, work on this.
He's come here to see what we think of his book, and you lot are giving him more work.
He says, regarding the hardcover, he's not sure specifically, but he would be all for it. He did just hear that there will be a hardcover release in France with new bonus materials, or hopefully English soon. Ooh, that'd be nice. Very nice. Yeah. Shall we go ahead and see what we all thought? Our final scores, final thoughts and scores. Here we go. Final thoughts and scores, baby. It's time. Everyone, you know the score by now. If you're in the chat and you've read the book, please let us know your score out of 10.
Is Livio going to ask to give his score? Because he's going to give it a 10, I'd imagine.
I'm not sure. I think that's quite biased. What do you think? Okay. So Shane, let us know what you thought of the book then.
I enjoyed it. Overall, I don't regret reading it, and I would read on. So that's obviously a bonus. The colors for me in the book, I wasn't a fan of. They were just very dark and very monotoned. I enjoyed the characters' personalities, not so much their designs. I thought the designs were a little bit generic looking, apart from the artisan, who was kind of, he had a really creepy look to him. The others were a bit
Very
blocky.
unique.
Yeah, the others for me were just a little bit blocky. The story's great. Kid, I want more. I want the kid back. Don't kill the kid. Hashtag don't kill the kid. Gorgeous art. No denying how good the art is. Story's great. The major downfall I have with the story is the obvious twist at the end. If it was even meant to be a twist, it was just the conclusion to the story, because you knew the artisan was up to something. You knew he was the bad guy. I just wish it had been the kid, you know, just make this innocent little thing willing to let some rando take his arm just to stay undercover, and then it turns out he was this massive bad guy. It would have been amazing. But overall, I really enjoyed it. I read it in one sitting, which is means I liked something. If I don't like something, I put it down and I'll get back to it when I can be bothered. But with this, I just kept turning the page and turning the page. So for me, this is a really solid 8 out of 10.
Awesome. 8 out of 10. Nice one. Off to a great start. Philippe?
Yeah, I mean, I'll just kind of similar to Shane. I had a good time, and I'll judge the book based on the enjoyment I got from it. Again, read in one sitting, which, as we said, when you read something in one sitting, that means you enjoy it and you like it, you're going to put it down. I do have some gripes with the art I mentioned before, with the lack of movement kind of portrayed in it when it comes to like some of the fight scenes. I didn't like that, and the panel layout and the kind of black chunks or whatever you want to call it. I think they could have put more in there, but again, the art's so fast and grand. I'm sure it took a long time to draw this, and I understand that. What Shane's mentioned about the art as well and the colors, I did really appreciate the kind of fast backgrounds, like, you know, of like the landscapes and stuff. I thought they were great, and I actually quite liked the character designs of some of the people on the party planet more than the main 4 people we got here today.
Yes.
But again, a good twist. It's a twist that was obvious, but I just liked the way it kind of, you know, worked out for it, really. If you think about Kaiju score last week, what happened in this book is what I expected in last week's book, where it all just unfolded all together, like so smoothly, if you know what I mean. They all come together. I like that. So overall, I enjoyed it, had a good time, liked the art, have some gripes. I'm going to give it a 7.5.
Nice one. Awesome. So far we've got 2 scores in the chat. It's not like you guys usually have more. So Connie is saying her final score is 8. Really enjoyable. Would definitely read on. Great art. Would love some more world building. I enjoyed the ending, the characters. So overall, an 8. Awesome. Thank you. And Tyler, really enjoyed this book. Art was great. I was hooked by the story. I want more. Love me a good sci-fi book. 8.5 out of 10 for him. Awesome. And then Blue Sonic has just jumped in. Great art and story. I 100% want more and will buy an oversized hardcover if it gets released. Gotta give this an 8.5. So I'll just add that on now. And for me, pretty much Tyler took the words right out of my mouth. I love a great sci-fi book. That is probably my favorite genre in terms of comics and like novels as well. So sci-fi, right up there for me. Loved it. And yeah, I definitely want more. There's so much room for this to go further, and I'd really like to see that happen. I'm really looking forward to it happening, as Livio was kind of teased there. The art style is great. I love the way he drew the environments. You know, the natural backgrounds are absolutely stunning and amazing. The kind of blurriness of some movements were absolutely fantastic. I love the twist. I love the varieties of the characters and the worlds that we saw as well. And just a really cool, fun, steady-paced read. Really, really fantastic. Really good. And yeah, I want more. Give us more, please. So this, for me, is going to be an 8.5. That's where I would put it. So, scores on the doors, everyone. Let me just do final little bit of maths. So, we have Philip, 7.5. Oh, sorry, I'll go through the audience. Audience, so you gave it an 8, an 8.5, and another 8.5, which brings you to a total of 8.3. And then adding that 8.3 to Phil's 7.5, Shane's 8, and my 8.5, it gives us the grand score of 8.1
Nice.
altogether. I think that's very deserving. I really enjoy that. So let's see where this is on the leaderboard.
Ooh, second.
Takes second place. So it's between Deceased and Something Is Killing the Children and Witches. I'm really happy with that. Do you guys, I think that's a good fit? Yeah?
Yeah. Well, I gave it an 8, so it's
Yeah.
exactly my score.
That's exactly. Just a little bit high. Yeah, that's awesome. We really, really did enjoy that story. Yeah, Livio was there. Thanks so much, everyone. That means a lot. I hope this gives you the kind of oomph to do more. And yeah, it's awesome. But yeah, we like let us know when the next one is back and next one is out, and we will definitely take a look.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Going to be called what's it going to be called? The Kill Lock 2, Deadlocked.
Oh, loads
Sounds
of
like a Bruce Willis 90s action movie. That doesn't
yeah.
Deadlocked.
Yeah. But yes, this is it for us. We are running short on time, but that's fine. We will tell you what we've got coming up next week. We will be looking at Old Man Logan, which is Philip's pick. Philip, are you looking forward to this?
Yes and no. Like,
is this a highly rated book for yourself?
It was, and then I started rereading it, and it's not what I'm thinking. But we'll discuss it next week. It's not going to dethrone Deceased, I don't think.
Okay, all right. Go on.
Can we just see Connie's comment for the title for the second Kill Lock?
The Kill Lock 2 Electric Boogaloo. It even rhymes. That's great. And yeah, Livio, thank you so much for joining in the chat. It's been absolutely fantastic. Just having you here, just clearing some stuff up for us and answering some questions for the chat as well. He says, thank you guys for covering the book. I really appreciate it and had a lot of fun hanging with everyone. Thank you so much.
That's so nice.
But yeah, shall we go around now and see what we've got coming up on each other's channels? Shall we just skip Philip? Shane, what's going on?
For one more week, there is a viewer competition live on Dawn of Comics Quiz Night 13. So if you head over and watch that, you've got one more week to enter the viewer competition to win a prize. So don't miss out. It's a super easy question this month, honestly.
It is. Even I got it.
Yeah.
That's great.
Me too.
Yeah, and Phil. Great.
So there you go. If these two got it, anyone can get it.
What's going on, Phil?
I think I said last week that I've reinstalled Premiere Pro. So that's one step into making videos again. I don't know. I mean, I need to do my TMNT stuff, so I need to read that book first.
You did promise?
Yeah, I did promise. I'm committed to it. So I will be starting book number 2 this weekend, and then that'll come at some point. But I mean, if and when I can get something out, I'll be first to let you all know, and you'll be so delighted to watch me.
Awesome. It always is a delight to watch you. That's why you're here. That's why you're on Comic Airwaves. Yes, and myself, I am taking a bit of a hiatus at the moment. There's no Comic Airwaves for the rest of the year. There's no more auctions for the rest of the year. I may be doing an unboxing at the end of this month because it was my birthday last month and I just had a bit of a spending spree and I had a hell of a lot of books. So yeah, keep an eye out for that. But yeah, apart from that, everything from me will pretty much be restarting in January.
Wow, that's too long.
But I'll still be here. I'll still be on the Nerded. That's fine. No problem.
Okay, phew.
Phew. But yes, thank you very much, everyone, for joining. We only have one more thing to do, and that is for all of us to get our waves out. But this time, do the other hand.
Oh.
But one I normally use.
Unnatural.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for joining.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Love you.